Hello everybody and welcome back. Today I'm going to teach you how to do Soldier 76 Ultimate. So, if you know the game Overwatch, there's a character that has an ultimate that if you are going to activate it, it is going to give you aim. So basically, that means that it doesn't matter where you point, it is going to hit your enemy no matter what. So, let me show a little demonstration. So, once I press my Q button and I fire, the AI, actually the enemies, because these aren't AIs, they are just characters, are going to die one by one. Haven't really figured out how to do the system perfectly, but I think it works. And as well, you can fire automatically by pressing your left mouse button. Okay, so let's begin. I'm not going to show you exactly how to do this. I mean, I'm not going to do it live because it is pretty hard, but I'm going to try to explain what I did here. So first, this is my character. So this is the entire blueprint with two functions, or actually three. And I have my AI here, which is called enemy. Nothing special, just thank you, so it looks nice. Okay, so let's begin. First, what you need to do is to get your left mouse button, but I highly suggest you to use some action mappings. And if you want to do that, go to Edit, Project Settings, Input, so let it load and go to Input. Right here, click this plus sign, add an action mapping and name it and make sure you have left mouse button or whatever you want. Okay, so now once we press our left mouse button, we need to set a variable. So I have already created one. Mine is boolean and its default value should be 0. That means false. Then once we press the button, we need to make this true, and once we release the button, we need to make this false. Then we need to check to do a branch, but here is going to be a boolean that we are going to create later. So just do the branch and set the condition to be false. Okay then. So getting from false, we're going to need to create a function, add a delay, a branch which has the same variable as here, is firing, and if it is true, we need to plug this again here. So it's kind of like a loop. Okay, so let's get into the fire part. Here is a simple line trace. So just get a line trace by channel, get your camera, get your location, plug this into the start, get a 4 vector, multiply it with a float, add these values up and plug this into the end. So this part is going to set the orientation and this is going to spawn the line trace. If you want to see your line trace, you can go here to draw debug type and make sure you have for duration or for one frame or persistent. Okay. Then we need to do a branch, which is going to check if we have set something. So if I'm going to fire in there, you can see that there's nothing at the end, but if I'm going to fire at this wall, you're going to see a red dot. So that means that we have hit something. Then we need to get from out hit break hit result, so we can access some informations about what we have hit. Then we need to cast to our enemy. So this part right here is only going to be applied if our hit actor is going to cast to the enemy. So let's say we are going to press left mouse button, we are going to hit this enemy right here, and so the hit actor is going to be that exact enemy. So we are going to cast it, but if it is not going to be an enemy out of this group, this part here is going to fail, so it's going to be cast failed. So in order to demonstrate this, let me print a string and type here failed. Okay, so we are going to shoot this and it is going to get destroyed. We are going to shoot at the wall and you can see there at the top left corner it is going to say failed. That is because we cannot cast to that specific character. Okay, now what we need to do is to as enemy and destroy that actor. So why do we use the target to be as enemy? Because we need to destroy our hit actor and not something else. Okay, so now if you want to make your weapon to fire automatically, what you need to do is, as I said, add a delay, which is going to pretty much be the fire rate. So let's promote this to a variable and let's say fire rate. Okay. And then what you need to do is to set this to have a default value. You can choose whatever you want. Let's say 0.1. And then here we have a branch, which is going to check if it's firing, and that is because we are only going to set it to false if we are going to release the button. So that means if we are going to press it once and then release it, we won't be able to run this check right here. And then we need to plug this fire once again. So as you can see, we are firing 0.1 seconds every time. And that is exactly what we want. Then, as I have said, we need here to do a branch. So now let's create a new variable, which is going to be a boolean. I've named it ultimate, so it is going to check if we are using ultimate or not. Then plug it to the condition, and here's going to be a function which I'm going to tell something about it a little bit later. Now, let's go to the edit, project settings, and input once again, and let's create another action mapping. You can call that ultimate or whatever you want, and you can bind it to any button. Mine is Q. Then what you need to do is to get the flip-flop. So this is basically when we are going to press the first time, we are going to run A. When we are going to press the second time, we are going to run B. So let's demonstrate this. So what we can do here is, if it's A, do a branch, do here a sequence, plug the then one into the branch execute node. Okay, get this flip-flop here. And now, if it is going to be true, let's print A. If it is going to be B, we are going to print in string B. Okay, so drag this a little bit up here. Okay, let's see. So first time I press Q is going to be A, second time it's going to be B. First time again is going to be A, second time B. So it is going to reset every time we are going to reach B. Okay, so now let me delete this, and you can delete the sequence as well. And now here we are going to be able to actually use this variable, so it's going to matter whether we are using or not the ultimate. Now let me get into my function, which is called fire ultimate. So we are going to have two type of fires, one the normal fire and the second fire ultimate. Okay. Here I have another function, so let's get into that as well. So this blueprint right here, this function is going to get which actor is the closest to him, and it is going to only count the enemies. This is not perfect, but it's pretty good, I think. So what we need to do, get all actors of class and get a for each loop, plug the auto actors into the array. So what this is going to do, and one more thing, remember to put to the actor class, put your enemy or whatever you have. So what it's going to do is going to get all the enemy in your actual level, and it is going to check what we are saying here for everyone. So if we have 10, we are going to do this check 10 times because in our level there are 10 enemies. Okay, so let's go a bit into our function and create an output. Make sure it is going to be an actor type variable, and you can name that as well. Mine is character. Okay, so get from it for each loop, get from there, get from the array element, get distance too. So we are going to get the distance from our character to that specific enemy when it is going to run, and we are going to compare floats. So we are going to get the distance, and we are only going to run this here if the distance is lower than 2000, or you can actually make this 20,000. Yeah, that's 20,000. Okay. So now what we need to do is set the distance to be current. So create another variable, make sure you have float and not integers or any other things. I mean, you could use integers as well, but floats are the best and the performance is going to be a little bit better. Okay, so set the distance to be the current variable, and then we need to do check if our current is lower than our lowest value possible. So create another variable, make it a float, and make the value insane. Okay, so I have here a really big number. I don't think I can even read it. Okay, so what we need to do here, if it is going to be lower, then we need to set the lowest value to be the current. So that's going to be the lowest value possible. Then set the nearest to be that exact actor from the array element. And then make the lowest once again a big number. And if this is going to be false, make sure you set the nearest to be nothing. Just nothing. Because that means we have no actor in this radius right here. And auto completed, set the nearest to be the character, so we can access that a little bit later. Okay, so now let's go back to the fire ultimate. Make sure you're going to use an isValid and plug the current to the input object, and you're going to fire from isValid, because this is going to get rid of some errors. So if I'm going to unplug that from there and compile and use whatever I have here, sometimes it is going to give some errors. So in order to make sure that you're not going to get errors, you should use isValid. Okay. Then what we need to do, in order to make that line trace to be a perfect hit, we need to get the character location and plug it into the end. And then from the start, what you need to do is to get the camera or location. Okay. So let me put this up here so it looks nice. Okay. And again, if you want to see your line trace, you can go to draw debug type and choose for duration, persistent, or for one frame. Okay, then again we're going to do a branch with the return value to be the condition, so we are only going to run this if we have actually hit something, because if there are not going to be any enemies in our radius, we are not going to hit anything, so it is going to be false. Then we need to get from out hit, get the hit actor, cast to it once again and destroy it. So it's the exact same thing from fire. So let me try to explain this a little bit better. So what we are doing here, we are getting all the enemies into the level. We are going to check the exact same thing for everyone. We are going to check if the distance from our character to the enemy is lower than this radius right here, than this value. If it is going to be lower, then we are going to check if the current is lower than lowest. And that sounds a little bit complicated, but it's not. So let me type here, rename this variable. So possible low value. Okay. So if our current is going to be lower than our possible low value, we are going to set this to be the possible low value. So we are going to set the nearest to be the actor, the enemy that we were checking at that point. Even this happens in one frame, it does it for multiple characters at some point. Okay, so it's going to take it differently. Okay, maybe I think that you can even unplug this from here, because we're going to set it anyway to a bigger number after that. So let's check if that's going to work as well. Okay, so it's working. So you don't really need to set it to that, so delete this, and this should be working now. Okay. So then we need to set our nearest character to be into the value, and if this is going to be false, we are going to set no character, no object, no actor to be the nearest character. Okay, and out of completed, go to the return value and set the character to be the nearest. So we can that output thing right here is made so we can access that information out of the function. So yeah, this is pretty much all for this tutorial. I know this is a little bit more complicated than usual, and I've tried my best to explain what I've did here. I hope that you have understood what I've said here, and I hope that you have actually learned something new from this tutorial, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video as well. So guys, until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.